You know, I think if we all just took a step back, even the biggest Disney defender would realize that all things considered, this company is the very definition of not knowing when to leave well enough alone. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I think I speak for everyone when I say, nah! Let's go, baby. The Mufasa trailer just dropped. Disney has never steered me wrong before, so why would they start now? Oh shit, Lion King in the snow. Things you didn't know you needed until you get them. So Mufasa was just a regular lion who became a king. I can relate. Beautiful shot with the lion cub's face in the raindrop. I'm actually tearing up a little bit. Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa! Oh shit, lion on lion crime. Oh shit, gator on lion crime. Can't we all just get along? Mufasa the Lion King. We will be seated for peak cinema. Give every single character in The Lion King a spin-off as far as I'm concerned. Oh wow, Blue Ivy and Beyonce? The Carters are here, officially. Bayhive, stand up! So Mufasa the Lion King is reportedly a prequel to the original Lion King that will focus on the origin of Mufasa and Scar's rivalry. An aspect to the original film that I honestly didn't put a lot of thought into. I just always kind of took it as Scar was passed over, and that left him kind of bitter. And that's really all the explanation I ever needed in my head. But as with anything in modern Hollywood, they have a tendency to over-explain things. Modern Hollywood typically takes their audience to be complete idiots because they don't expect them to come to conclusions on their own. And because of how they typically use cheap nostalgia to lure those audiences back in when they need them.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Now to be clear, I'm not saying that there isn't an interesting story to be told here somewhere. I'm sure that there is, but the question is, and will always be, does that story really need to be told? At first glance, I would have to say no, and I say that for a couple of reasons. First of all, we have to look at the film that preceded this one. A soulless, emotionless, heartless, cash grab remake that did absolutely nothing to improve upon the story in the original film. In fact, what it actually did was take an iconic children's film from my youth that's honestly a great film in its own right. They took that masterpiece of animation and stripped everything away from it that made people connect with it in the first place.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Now, I understand that it's difficult to argue with the remake, especially considering it did such good business from a box office perspective. My only response to that would be it only did such good business because that was before people knew better. There was a time when you could remake a classic film for modern audiences and slap a recognizable name on it and people were going to show up for that. But I'm not entirely sure we are still there. I'm not entirely sure that this prequel/sequel is going to have the same impact on people. As always, regardless of the work that was put into this film or what the final product ultimately ends up looking like, we still have to ask ourselves this question. Who really asked for this? The answer would be almost no one, but we all know that has never stopped Disney in the past.
Absolutely f***ing not.
We are talking about a company that not only ruined two of the most profitable movie franchises in history with Star Wars and Marvel, but they also made a habit recently of going back and destroying their own beloved animated classics. All for the sake of milking just a little bit more of those sweet nostalgia dollars. Now you can hide behind the excuse of this is made for modern audiences all you want, but anyone with a brain is going to respond to that and say, why can't the new generation just watch the original film? It's not like these movies are suddenly unavailable now. Granted, some PC bull might have gotten some of them edited down, but they still do exist in some capacity. When it comes right down to it, Disney is remaking their own films simply because they've ran out of ideas. Or at least they've run out of ideas that audiences actually want to see. They are pretty much a microcosm of the entertainment industry as a whole in that aspect.
That makes sense.
And if I'm being honest, Mufasa The Lion King feels like an extension of that way of thinking. Now, to the film's credit, it looks like at the very least, they are trying to tell us a version of this story that we haven't seen before. Mufasa's origins is not something that we have a ton of information about. But I ask the question again, do we really need that information to truly appreciate Mufasa as a character? We already appreciate his character because of his aura, because of his mystique, and of course because of his voice by the great James Earl Jones. And all of that has the potential to be ruined by this film revealing too much. Also, his feud with his brother Scar is kind of iconic as well. At the very least, it has an iconic conclusion. Will revealing more about their relationship really add anything to that iconic moment where Scar decides to murder his own brother? I doubt it.
If he dies, he dies.
And I'm going to bring this up again because I brought it up when the remake came out, and it's still relevant. If Scar isn't voiced by Jeremy Irons, then we're doing something wrong. I assume this origin story in this film will somehow wrap around and connect with the post-Lion King storyline, especially considering Simba and Nala's daughter plays a major role in this film reportedly. Will this lead to another film that ultimately adapts Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, for the big screen? I wouldn't recommend it based on what we've got so far, but once again, nostalgia is a powerful drug that Disney just loves to distribute.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I also noticed in the trailer, to its credit, that the animals seem to have more predominant facial expressions this time around, which is something that the remake was heavily criticized for lacking. So kudos to them, I guess, for listening, if this does in fact come to fruition, and hopefully these lions aren't the stone-faced, emotionless androids that we got in the remake. It may actually help to add a little heart to this film that was missing from the first one.
Why do you cry?
As far as the visuals go, they look decent. I'm not personally a fan of this type of animation. Fully animated CGI movies really don't do anything for me unless, of course, you spend 13 years making them. These types of movies always send mixed signals to me. Is it supposed to look realistic? Are we supposed to look at it like they are animated? And if you are already not interested in the movie to begin with, it becomes an uphill battle to win audiences over. Listen, I do think there are some people out there who will be excited for this and excited to see what Barry Jenkins brings to the table this time around. But watching the trailer, you can't help but feel like these resources would have been put to better use elsewhere, telling a different story, used on a movie that people might actually be craving to watch. But let's face it, Disney really isn't in the business of giving people what they want anymore. They pretty much just feed you whatever garbage they want to produce, and then they talk down to you when you don't want to swallow.
That's what she said!
Bottom line, the Mufasa The Lion King trailer really didn't leave much of an impression on me. All it really did was show me a company who is doubling down on the same bullshit they always do, just with a slight twist this time.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.